Now I wanted to ask you, you appeared on a couple classic albums. And I was looking on Wikipedia, it was saying that these two albums, I don't know if it's correct or not, but they came out at the same day, the same time, the same year.
Yeah.
You appeared on the Tribe Called Quest album, and you was on the Black Star album with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. How did you connect with those two groups?
Well, I knew Kweli and most from being in the same circles, from rapping everywhere in New York, going to all open mics, being at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe, Wetlands, just kind of being in the same circles. Because New York, you had certain places you would go automatically to get your skills sharpened. And then Tropical Quest, how we hooked up with them was me and Punchline was doing an Lyricist Lounge event one night, and Q-Tip hosted it. So he saw me and Punch perform, and then he called the Lyricist Lounge asking about us, and that's how we clicked with him. But prior to that, he also had already knew Mos and Kweli, so it just worked out that we all was like already a tight knit family in a way, you know, just kind of like from a distance, kind of distant cousins in a way when you look at it like
Oh, okay, yeah, man, that's major because those are some giants, man. It's not a lot of people that got collaborations with both those groups. You have to be a phenomenal MC to, you know what I'm saying, get invited, you know, on tracks like that, especially by Q-Tip, man. That's major. So big shout out to you for that. So I guess, oh no, I have a question about those studio sessions. Now, back then, were you able to record with the groups in the studio, or did you kind of do your parts in a different place and they put it together?
back then you could do that, but if you did that back then, you recorded one studio, it was a 2-inch reel, so it was a big tape. So you would actually have to ship it to another studio, or somebody would have to come in the next day to that same session. It wasn't no email and anything. But we all did everything together. We were in the studio for both of those songs. I was in the studio only twice in a lifetime. Quali wasn't there, High Tech wasn't there. Just the track was there, and me, Punch, and Jane Doe, of course, with Quali. Most wasn't there that day. He put his verse later on, and then on the Love Movement album, we all were there. We all were there at the same time with Q-Tip recording that.
Wow, that's major, man. You probably write a book about those experiences. Yeah, right. Because I think on the song, on the Black Star album, I think most he rap last, if I'm not mistaken.
Raps Last, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now I wanted to ask you about the Lyricist Lounge. How did you even get connected with that, and how involved were you in that for the viewers who may not know?
Yeah, the Lyricist Lounge is created by Danny Castro and Anthony Marshall. So it was an open mic event that they would have, and then they would have upcoming artists come up, and then have well-known artists host the events. So that was like a staple in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, and Midtown Manhattan, and wherever they could find a spot to have a showcase. And then years later, during the recording of the first album, I did a freestyle that got caught on videotape, and that's how it was labeled The Professor, and that's how the TV show came about. So Lyricist Lounge, the origin of Lyricist Lounge is actually when you go to a venue and it's open mics and people performing, upcoming rappers are performing, hosted by people that you know. So that's what Lyricist Lounge is.
Man, okay, okay. Thank you for breaking that down. I gotta salute you, man, for just contributing to hip hop history. You know, and you obviously you can see the seeds that the Lyricist Lounge has planted. So I wanted to
Thank
ask you. Oh yeah, no doubt, man. It's an honor. Do you have any favorite episodes and also any favorite artists that you got a chance to work with in terms of the Lyricist Lounge?
I would say my favorite skit is going to be maybe the bank robbery. We rhyming over the Mob Deep beat. So that's one of them. And then Save It Private Rhyming. That's another one. Those two are dope because everybody recalls them. They like that's the ones that a lot of people come up to me about. But the main one that I would say overall would have to be that one when we were doing the bank heist because that was the first sketch we wrote. And I remember us writing it and us like trying to figure out how should we write it? Do we dumb it down? Do we write it how we write? You know, and then we just was like, man, just write the rhymes, man. We just write it the way we write it and make it dope and go from there. And that's why those rhymes still sound dope to this day. It's 20 some years later. So like if we would have dumbed it down, it would be terrible now. But those rhymes are still fire to this day. Those rhymes will always be fire because the integrity we put into writing the rhyme. We knew we needed to write some rhymes that stood the test of time. So you can say any of those verses and it's just still going to be hot.
Yeah, most definitely. Because I was going back catching some. I'm like, that shit's still fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
I'm like, wow.